And Geetanjali, can you mute the rest of the team members? If you can.
Yeah, I've muted
mute
all.
and video off.
Yeah, you unmute yourself.
Okay, I think everybody can hear me now. And
yes.
Yeah. Okay, very good evening to all. On behalf of Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry and Rotary E-Club of E-Connect Rotary District 3190, I welcome you all for the digital launch of the Karnataka Rural Tourism Council. Okay, today being the World Tourism Day, we are very, very happy to launch it. And this evening will be an interactive session with all of us to know each of the council members. Can somebody mute? I think somebody needs to mute their mic. There's so too much of traffic noise.
Yeah, I muted or I don't know. Okay, I'm muted.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Okay, so being a woman-centric networking, I would like to start with what I feel woman power basically is. A woman is a full circle. Within her is the power to create, nurture, and transform. I think this saying goes well with all of the women entrepreneurs, leaders, doctors, and all the members who have now joined our organization. This organization is for the upliftment of women in all the fields, basically in all sectors. So this Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industries is the India's national women's chamber for business development, networking, and collaborating, and it has been established on the basis of all and Women Enterprise Forum, Women Economic Forum, sorry. So all is All Ladies League. I think few of the members will be knowing about it, and I would like to tell all of you to visit our website wicci.in to know more about the group also. The focus of this team is to create global impact for women entrepreneurs, businesses, and working professionals. So the basic idea behind this to empower women entrepreneurs and leaders, we would like to hear, the government to hear women voices on policy changes, and we suggest changes to governments and other institutions. It aids in boosting global trades, networking and collaboration between individuals, and we conduct research and skill developmental skills based on the requirements on the field, and mentorship is also provided. The next thing is when we talk about the council members, WICCI has a network of around 2 lakh members, and I think we should all pat our back for this because it is I think it is one of the huge network connecting all women entrepreneurs and business people. So the councils are on the following hierarchy, except for the last one. The bilateral business councils is between different countries, while the national councils are based on the national levels, on the sector levels, regional councils based on the states, and the Northeast, Western, South state and union territory councils. And again, within the state, we have sector-based councils and city councils to work on the grassroots level. The Apex National Sector Councils have all the presidential councils involved in it, along with a lot of people from industries and other walks of life who form the main team, who form the regulatory aspects of all these other councils. So when we talk about what we are focusing on today, rural tourism. Rural tourism is like form of any other tourism except for one major aspect. In this tourism, both the traveler and the host community, they both are mutually benefited. But here what happens is not just in the monetary aspect, the travelers become a part of the stake in the development of that particular region, and that is the best thing of the rural tourism, where we get involved in their culture, their unique habits, their food resources and everything. And that's how this rural tourism has to be promoted from our end. And rural tourism benefits, like everybody can see in the presentation, we will be talking about women empowerment, entrepreneurship opportunities, employment generation, preservation of local tradition, developing new skills, cultural exchange. It reduces urban drift, in which we can add another point also, where it aids in reverse migration. People who have moved from the rural areas to the urban, they come back when they have job opportunities also there. We improve the quality of life. They build a community pride, and environmental benefits are huge in that, in the terms of conservation and coexistence and sustainable livelihood. These are the main benefits of rural tourism. And the beauty of empowering others is like sharing your knowledge. You gain more when you give more, and this is the ultimate aim of WICCI. With this motto behind us, I think we will now be going into introducing our council members. Am I audible to all? Just one of you, can you guys answer? I keep talking.
Yes, yes, yes. You are very
Okay,
much
fine. Okay. So I will take this pleasure, and it's a great honor for me to introduce our state president, Geetanjali Dar. She's the founder of the ecotourism venture Indian Terrain Nature Club, commonly called as the IT Nature Club. They are doing several initiatives within the rural communities in aiding them to connect to tourism. She has another NGO, the IT Nature Trust, which creates a lot of libraries and helps in Reach to Read project. As a chapter chairperson of All Ecology, that is All Ladies League Conservation Group, she collaborates with 5 state chapters. I welcome Geetanjali to take over from here to introduce the rest of the council members to the team. Thank you. Geetanjali, kindly take over. Geetanjali?
Okay, so I am audible, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Smita, for the wonderful introduction to WICCI and explaining the roadmap that Rural Tourism Council is planning ahead with a wonderful team under its umbrella. With an awesome team with me, I'm sure we can do much more to rural tourism as a team together, and it's my pleasure and honor to introduce the amazing team. Starting with our vice president. 1 second. Okay. Here we have Manik Deshmukh, avid traveler, and I had the privilege of traveling with her to many places around India, abroad. She's a retired teacher, loves traveling for nature and wildlife, and photographs them. A wonderful photographer too. She does a lot of nature awareness programs for students in Maharashtra, and she's also the chapter chairperson for All Maharashtra Ecology Conservation Group. This is a group which is formed to create awareness of ecology and conservation. Next. Sharmishta Ray. Sharmishta is also a Rotarian. She left her cozy corporate job and started an enterprise called Bhumija Crafts.
Sorry.
Yes.
Somebody's saying they can't view my full screen. Is my full screen on, Geetanjali?
Yes, I can see it. It's full.
Okay, I think for Manikji, I think you should do a full screen of Zoom in your system.
I'm doing full screen, but I'm not seeing the PPT full.
It should be for us all. It's
full.
It's full. It's full. Yeah.
Yeah, we can see.
Yeah. So
Okay.
sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Continue, Geetanjali. Sorry.
Yeah. So here we have Sharmishta. Her enterprise Bhumija Crafts, which helps many artisans from rural India through. She buys, and she markets it for them through her website. And she's also the chairperson for All Andhra Pradesh Ecology Conservation Group. Next.
Just 1 minute.
And yes, here we have Smita. We always like to address her as her digital savior, very apt, very digitally aware, and she knows everything. We are really thankful to her for preparing this entire PPT and along with Manik and putting everything together so well and so fast. So Smita Anand is from Chennai. She left her IT sector job for her passion for photography and short filmmaking for the last 15 years now. She has worked with many local tribes for the children's education and nature conservation. And she is also an animal rescuer for the last 20 years. She's currently working on the raptors in ecologically sensitive area at Chennai outskirts, and was very happy to announce that one of their documentary along with her team has been, I think, nominated, right, Smita?
Yeah, yeah, it
Yes.
has been nominated among the top 5 in an
Yeah,
international
yeah.
film festival.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Congratulations.
Thank
Congratulations.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
So
next.
nice.
We have Shubha Prabhakar from Madurai, Tamil Nadu. She's into manufacturing garments under the name Microfine Clothing. She's the joint managing director of the company. She also runs a forum called Sharp, where they guide about life skills to college students, and a wonderful initiative wherein her NGO Varnaville teaches English to the juvenile students. And we have Mapui Kwalring from Mizoram, an entrepreneur, social worker, passionate about doing something for the rural economy. She herself is a homestay owner and into tourism already. She works with locals for the development of sustaining a rural, tourism and livelihood enhancement. She has worked for a project which focuses on the empowerment of women and the youth under a project with the UNDP. Nisha Bellare, a passionate menstrual health advocate, loves traveling. She also has a long innings in the tourism industry. Now a very active Rotarian. She heads the menstrual hygiene management of Rotary District 3190. She is a manufacturer and promotes usage of Nari menstrual cups to reduce toxic waste. She has also formed a self-help group where women are trained to stitch reusable cloth pads.
Wow.
Lata Krishna, a wonderful person who loves traveling. She just takes off with her vehicle alone, solo traveler. She loves traveling alone, an architect by profession, interior designer with her own architecture firm called Archedifice. And she's a crusader for sustainable living and also a TEDx speaker. As a president of Rotary Bangalore Basvanagudi, she has spearheaded various campaigns on waste management. Lovely to have so many Rotarians on the team. Ananya, a wonderful person, you feel always happy talking to her. She's a textile designer from Assam, educated in Mumbai. Her brand, Yarn Glory, actually promotes rural empowerment by helping the women weavers from different ethnic and cultural communities. She has worked under various government agencies such as SIRT, NEDFI, Khadi Udyog, etc. Lovely to have you, Ananya, with us. Priyanka Kori, our young member, a documentary filmmaker. She has her master's in mass communication from Department of Media and Communication, Pune University. We hope to showcase a lot of our projects through her in the coming days. And one of her documentaries has received a jury award too. Of course, being a documentary filmmaker, she creates lovely visual stories on various social issues.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful.
Rohini Rao, she's a retired banker, loves nature. I had the privilege of traveling with her to many destinations. A strong advocate of rural tourism and homestays so that it helps the rural economy. Um, uh, we have traveled to various places, within India and abroad. She believes in sustainable and community tourism, as I mentioned. She does nature conservation awareness via ecology groups. Dr. Seema Kulkarni. Seema is from Maharashtra. She's a medical microbiologist, likes to study the birds, believes in recycling of water, and has in fact installed a biogas plant on her terrace itself. So yes, and she creates awareness of environment by preparing bookmarks and distributing among young and old to create more awareness of environment.
Wow. I think she should share her plan of the biogas plant on the terrace to all of us.
Yes, yes, it's quite
Yes.
interesting. That's what.
Yes, quite
Yeah, we
interesting.
will be having a lot of presentations in the future, in the coming months,
Sure,
from
sure,
our own
sure.
members. Yes.
Yeah.
Dr. Pratima, right now she is in Dubai. A doctor. Also does, whenever she comes to India, works a lot in the rural areas around Mumbai. She contributes towards nature by following zero waste movement and animal rescue. She is also part of many social work, social organizations in Dubai as well as in Mumbai. Sonal Tiwari, an architect, assistant professor, and doing her PhD on interrelation of traditional livelihoods and riparian zone of Narmada River. Very interesting subject, one of my favorite subjects. She had done many ecology courses and is a member of various working committees, published various research papers on sustainable tourism, sacred groves, and many others. And we will be collaborating with her on many of the projects wherein, like keeping the architecture in place, how we can make the projects guest friendly together. So it will be an interesting journey together. Thanks, Sonal, for being part of us. Supriya, we are very honored to have her with us. She was commended for her social contribution in Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao campaign as a member of the unique IFBSF Women Camel Expedition. She is a retired squadron leader and has served for a decade in the Indian Air Force as a technical officer. She has been helping me in my couple of endeavors, especially in the library movement. And she's also a volunteer for the Kaveri Calling and ongoing river revival program, and is a certified mountaineer.
Wow.
Suchitra. Suchitra is again from Bombay, a family physician. She's practicing in the town of Dombivli for the last 25 years. She's also the editor for Dialogue, which is brought out by Indian Medical Association. Dialogue is the chapter of Dombivli chapter, yes. She's also the trustee at Dombivli Section Prasharak Mandal, which runs a school and college. Surekha Sonavne, she is the founder and director of non-profit organization Indian Ecologic Foundation, which does programs for wildlife and environment. She runs her own pathology lab, which is into interior, and also does interior designing and event management. Her NGO, in fact, helps Forest Department to, foster the rescued wild animals, which serves as a wildlife transit center in Dombivli. Sumitra, she's the founder of a very interesting project called Bobbin Project, which explores interior design in the era of sustainability with a focus on stories from cultures and traditions across the world. She chooses her designs with a habitable indoor environment with focus on health and well-being. The project also engages with rural livelihoods in India by incorporating the work of local artists and craftsmen. So it's an interesting projects, definitely, and I'm sure we are going to use it very often in the projects. Yes, to Samital, since Smita has already spoken about our, journey ahead, I just want to add that India being a country of rural landscape, and as majority still live in the villages, with each region has its own vibrant culture, tradition, folklore, cuisine. And from the tourism perspective, we still have not really used it as a niche segment of a huge tourism industry. Somehow we are not there yet. Our council can become a powerful economic pillar in enhancing rural livelihood, is what I strongly believe in. This will also address the socio-economic empowerment, will promote equality, leadership, and also help in the conservation of local flora and fauna by continuous mentorship, by connecting the stakeholders with a strong global network of WICCI, and also through the network of Rotary International, and of course, the Ministry of Tourism. The last 6 months have been the worst time for all segments of this industry, with the first industry to get impacted, in fact, and the last one now to be slowly opening up. But then we are hopeful that this too shall pass, and hopefully soon. I also take this opportunity to thank Rotary E-Club of eConnect of District 3190 under the dynamic leadership of District Governor Nagendra Prasadji for coming forward to be the project partners for future endeavors on case-to-case basis. And with an awesome team with me, I'm sure we can do this and much more.
Can I change to the next?
Okay. And now it is my privilege and honor to introduce the amazing leader of WICCI, Harbeen Arora. One second. Dr. Harbeen Arora is a thought leader, global icon, and visionary for women, businesswomen, philanthropist. She's a humanitarian, author, spiritual speaker, like compelling speaker. It's always wonderful to hear her speak. She manifests a multifaceted leadership with strength and simplicity. She is the founder and global chairperson of the All Ladies League and Women Economic Forum, with a powerful global network of 2 lakh women worldwide and growing toward Mission Million. All and WEF are among the largest communities of women entrepreneurs and leaders worldwide, offering platforms and ecosystems for personal and professional growth, a mammoth movement of sisters beyond borders for greater exchange and business beyond borders. Dr. Arora is also the founder of Sheconomy, an e-commerce platform dedicated to goods and services by women entrepreneurs worldwide, for all with the mission to sell, scale, succeed, sustain, and serve. She is also the Chancellor of Rai University, Rai Technology University, and Jharkhand Rai University. The universities focus on educating youth from undeserved sections of society, especially in the fields of farming and agriculture, empowering local livelihoods and capacity building. She is the author of 3 books on higher education, human values, and creative living. She is also the founder of Bio Ayurveda and Organic Health and Wellness Enterprise. She leads ventures in high-tech agriculture, organic farming, and sustainable living. She is the founder, president of WICCI, as already mentioned, which is the first premier All India National Women's Chamber of Commerce and Industry, empowering women entrepreneurs and leaders in India. She has been recognized and lauded for her work across India and internationally, and has received many honors and accolades for her relentless and selfless leadership towards women empowerment for global peace and gender parity. She was listed among the top 100 most reputable people on earth by Reputation poll of 2019. Dr. Arora holds a bachelor's degree in economics from Delhi University, a master's from King's College, London University, and the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, RADA, and PhD from Sorbonne, University of Paris 3. So here is our Dr. Harbeen Arora.
Can I play it?
Yep.
We can't hear you.
Yeah.
You can't hear?
Now
Yeah,
you
we
can,
can't hear.
yeah. No, replay it.
1 minute, please. Can you?
No, not yet.
Just 1 minute. I think I should put on my speaker. I will just switch off my Bluetooth and.
Namaskara, this is Dr. Harbeen here to congratulate everybody, Geetanjali, Manik, council members, and Mohammad Farooqji. Thank you so much for joining for this event organized by the Karnataka Rural Tourism Council of the Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, which is focusing on bringing out, showcasing the immense sustainability which is inherent in the aspect of rural tourism. Tourism, as we know, world over right now is at a halt, but when it picks up again, people will want to do things differently. We as humanity will want to do things differently. So rural tourism can become that new next horizon of new opportunity where we all can do things differently, meaning more sustainably. I also see all the council members bring wonderful strength. Somebody's a photographer, somebody's into waste management, somebody's into crafts. All these livelihoods, all these ways of doing things can be brought forward by the way of rural tourism. And of course, Karnataka is one of the most biodiverse places in the whole world. So there is an opportunity to heal with nature. I congratulate you all and wish you all the best.
This was okay, right? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, it was fine.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear.
Thank you so much, Dr. Harbeen Arora.
Yes, thank you,
Geetanjali,
Dr. Harbeen.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Geetanjali, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Are you able to hear the audio?
Yes, we could
Yes.
hear. We could hear.
Okay, so can I go to the next slide now, or you have?
Yes, I'm just waiting for Farooqji.
Okay, so
I think he's not, because today is a very busy day. Yes, let us see. This is not on. Okay. Yes, you can probably, like we'll take it as the digital launch and you can speak on the next slide.
Okay. So you want to talk about Farooqji?
He's not in a way. I think I'll speak once he is on.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, fine. So I'll go to the next thing.
Yeah.
I now call upon our Vice President Manik Deshmukh to introduce our guest speaker for the day.
Thank you so much. Yeah. I'm here. Thank you so much, Smita, and good evening all. This is my privilege to introduce a charming and very dedicated lady, Karina Malpartida Ruiz. She is our guest speaker for the digital launch of Rural Tourism Council. She is a graduate from the National University of Cusco to be a professional tour guide. She has been a part of tourism industry for the past 15 years and leading groups in Peru and other countries in South America. She is a very generous person and takes care of members of her group. Myself and Geetanjali Dhar, we went to Peru with the IT Nature Club group. At that time, we experienced her wonderful hospitality when we visited Peru. She can fluently speak Quechua, Spanish, English, and French. She is very passionate about Peruvian culture and history. She believes in sharing in-depth knowledge with her guests, traveling in her groups, which shows her passion towards her work and subject. She is having a keen interest in Indian mythology and she loves to cook Indian cuisines. As part of her work, she also showcases the cultural diversity of native Peruvian landscape, in turn promoting rural tourism. I now request Karina to have a talk on the topic of rural tourism and women empowerment in Peru. Thank you so much.
Just give me
Thank you.
1 minute,
Yeah, yeah.
Karina. I will just stop
Yes,
sharing
of
my
course.
screens so that you can share.
All right.
Yeah, you can share your screen now.
For any reason, I cannot share my screen. It looks like you didn't allow the person. All right.
No, 1 second.
Yeah.
No. I've changed it. I've changed it. Now check out. I think you can share now.
All right, Jess.
Yeah.
I can do it now. Yeah. So, oh my Lord, I feel really honored to be here at this conference, and above all, to speak for such as important and inspiring woman in India. It is really awesome to me to be part of this team of this conference from Cusco, from Peru, where I live, where I work also, trying to inspire another women to be part of the touristical industry, which is very important actually in this city as well. So good evening. First of all, happy International Tourism Day to all of you. I know that today we are living a very difficult time. The circumstances are not the best for traveling. Peru is closed. All the world is closed because of the terrible pandemic. But I know that we are going to travel again, and we are going to enjoy one more time the richness that the world has to offer to us. No? Thank you very much, Manik, for the presentation, and to all the members of Karnataka Rural Tourism Council for the opportunity you gave me to share with you some experiences about rural tourism and women empowerment in my beautiful country. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to this virtual conference from Cusco, the navel of the world, from the heart of the Andes. I am very happy to be here. I am really honored and really excited to be part of this virtual conference. I would like to start my conference talking a little bit about Peru. Probably some of you have the opportunity to come already. I was the host of Gitangali and his amazing group around this country. We had the opportunity to visit different amazing places around Cusco, like Machu Picchu for sure. I had the opportunity also to see their passion for life, for nature, and also for traveling and for meeting new cultures and learned about them also. No? Peru is a country that is located in South America, right? It is considered the third largest country in this continent. And as you can see in this map, Peru is made up 3 different natural regions, like the Amazon rainforest. All this portion is the Amazon rainforest, and we are lucky to have almost the 60% of the Peruvian territory that is formed by the Amazon rainforest, followed by the Andes mountain range that makes a form of a spine crossing completely the whole Peruvian territory. And finally, the coast of Peru, that as you can see, is facing to the Pacific Ocean, right? So the population of Peru today is 33 million inhabitants, approximately. The official language is the Spanish, But this is not the only language spoken, as we have 48 different native languages in the country. Being Quechua, my mother tongue, as Manik already told you, I speak Quechua as well. It's part of my Andean heritage. And Quechua is today also in the country the best known and also the most extensive language, followed by the Aymara language that is used mostly here in this part, Puno, where the Lake Titicaca is located, right? And finally, all the different Amazonian languages that are spread over the whole jungle, over the whole Amazon rainforest of Peru. The coast, this part here, the yellow, is the most populated area. The number of inhabitants of this area is approximately 60% of the whole population of Peru, followed by the Andes, and finally the Amazon rainforest, right? So we have more people living here, no, and also around the Andes of Peru. That means that we have a lot of rural populations or Andean communities also, mostly here around the Andes of Peru. In terms or politically, let's say that Peru is split in 24 different regions, as you can see here. I am right here, see, Cusco or Cusco in my mother tongue, Cusco, the navel of the world. And Lima, which is here, is the capital city of Peru, of my country, okay? Well, like India and like many other countries in the world, also Peru has the privilege to be recognized as the country with the greatest biological, historical, and also cultural diversity. We are really proud to be Peruvians. We are really proud to have these three natural regions that gave the possibility to Peru to have this extraordinary biological diversity and also cultural as well, right? And that has permitted for a long time already to develop the tourism as an important source of income for the country. It is the third most important economical activity in Peru. Imagine how we are today. Here in Cusco, tourism is one of the most important economical activities, and it is thanks to Machu Picchu, right? But there was a growing interest in develop many other types of forms of tourism. And for sure, rural tourism is one of them, no? And it was growing with high interest the last years, and it is involving most of the communities that we have along the Andes of Peru. Why not the coast? In the coast also we have a lot of places where the rural tourism is being practiced. And the reason why rural tourism is growing and growing permanently is because people is motivated after the extraordinary heritage and also the extraordinary culture that we have. As Peruvians, we have the privilege to have one of the oldest cultures around the world. According to the historians, the most or the oldest culture of Peru started 5,000 years ago, approximately. And until today, most of the communities that we have in the rural areas are still living in a very similar way as our ancestors used to live in the past. So that motivates people to travel and to try to be in contact with the local communities, and also to learn and to be educated, to receive education, believe it or not. Sometimes people just believe that you have to go to a university to be educated, to learn something, but not. Today, with the rural tourism, we understood that we have to also travel to these small communities to learn from them, to have this inspiration also from their lives, right? learned about agrarian style life. Most of the communities that I will show you today have as main economical activity the farming activity. No, they are farmers. The agrarian lifestyle is for sure the most important activity they have also there. So they can share with us very traditional, very ancestral styles or techniques for the farming activity, right? Even today, in the 21st century, they didn't really change their traditions in terms of agriculture. So it is really amazing to travel where they are, to travel to their communities and to learn how they use the different tools that also my ancestors in the 14th century, 13th century, 10th century used to use, right? The interaction. Yes, Jigitangali.
Yeah, somebody has asked me maybe if you can speak a little louder.
All right. Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
So the interaction with members of the native communities is also very important. No, so it's another motivation for travelers to visit these communities, right? And thanks to this great interest to date, we have more than 76 different rural destinations in Peru that are being developed in 16 different regions of Peru, no? With a great contribution to generate and also increase the employability, no, in the rural areas, where in the past it was almost zero. Today we have a permanent growth in the employability generation, and the incorporation of women in the business management has become also very important. That is why, for example, in the picture, you can see women, no, that are basically the reason why rural tourism in Peru is becoming such as important, thanks to their extraordinary work. No, we have all the time more and more people traveling, basically focus and looking for this type of destinations, rural areas, no, and to practice also rural tourism in these places. So we have about 100,000 foreign visitors from all over the world that had visited the rural areas that were managed basically for the community, for the communities, for the communers. No, it is important to mention that the wealth and also the cultural diversity of Peru is based on the history, is based on the tradition, is based in the communities that to date are present along almost the whole country. No? So the communities today occupy a great portion of our national territory. And in these times, they constitute an important complement to our touristical offer in Peru. For basically all the visitors that are interested in getting acquainted and interacting with other cultures. Visiting rural communities became the main motivation for their trip. No? We did the same search. We saw that the possibility to get closer with people, to get closer to the artistic work of artisans represent a crucial factor during their decision to stay in our country. No? Peru has a lot of potential, but most of these destinations or rural tourism destinations has basically a greatest development in the southern part of the country, where I live, for example, in Cusco, in Puno, or in Arequipa, no? 3 places where we have probably the highest concentration of visitors from all over the world also. That definitely is contributing today with the communities and also with the members of these associations, no? The contribution is in different aspects. We have an important economical contribution. As I told you earlier, the farming activity is in most of these rural areas the main economical activity. But it is hard to live just from farming. And in Peru, where sometimes we don't have accessible markets, no, for them, it was really difficult to transport their produces from their hometown to the big cities. Sometimes they didn't really sell in a right price. So that was a very crucial problem that they have to face that was unfortunately generating for a long time a lot of poverty in this community. So today, thanks to the rural tourism, the families from these communities have an additional economic income, and it is helping, without any doubt, to improve their quality of life, to improve their access also to other opportunities like studies, like technology, without changing the base of their knowledge, without changing their own culture, no? Environmental benefits also, because even though they protect already their communities, the nature, they know today that they have to preserve it, they have to use in a sustainable way all the natural resources that they have, no? Social benefits are multiple actually, because it is permitting the communities to maintain the bond between their members, no? In addition, it permits to strengthen the ancestral forms of organization, to value their cultures, to recover also their traditions that were in risk to disappear, because in the past they didn't visualize the value. Today they can express, because they can see the respect and also the admiration of people from overseas, right, to their culture, to their language, to their traditions, right? In terms of opportunities, for sure, it is for us as Peruvians, as people involved in the touristical industry, is another alternative for the conventional tourism, right? Actually, you can also travel to Machu Picchu, but you can also visit these communities, right? So it is changing, it is making the touristical products of Peru more diverse. In terms of education, yeah, it is inspiring women to change their mind, to look for training, to look for education in their communities and also in other areas like in the national territory, in the international territory, by attending conferences, by trying to study something else in order to be able actually to express their easier their traditions as well, no? So the use of the technology also is permitting the connection of these people with, for example, people from other communities around the world, and also interchange their knowledge and their experiences as well, no? Which is very important in order to grow up this type of tourism. In terms of health, for sure, even though they have extraordinary knowledge about the ancestral medicine, and most of them know how to use, you know, plants, medicinal herbs, the alternative medicine or the traditional medicine as well. But it is always important to have access to the conventional medicine as well. And thanks to the rural tourism, they are having this opportunity also, right? So the topic that I have to talk about is mostly the rural tourism and how it allows or permitted the woman empowerment in the rural areas, right? So before to explain what happened, how the role of woman changed, or how today woman is perceived by their families or by their communities, or in general by all the society of Peru, I would like to give you some references about how is the culture of the rural woman, no? It is important to understand the circumstances rural Peruvian women face to fully understand the purpose and also the impact of the rural tourism in their life. Well, in Peru, like in many other Latin American countries, the machismo culture exists. And the machismo is really strong. And it is sometimes very difficult to deal with, because sometimes in a typical family, we are raised as women, right? Under the machismo culture. No, sometimes our mother tell us, no, you have to cook for them, for men. You have to learn how to do things to satisfy the needs of your husband as soon as you get married. No, this is the idea. This is the mentality here, no? And in most of the cases, these ladies here didn't have any opportunity to choose their future, their destiny, because they are in their culture, they were forced by the society and by their families to, in this case, get married early. They couldn't deny, they couldn't say not, because that was part of the mentality of their families as well. No, if you don't get married at the age of 16, 17, 18, then probably you won't find a couple. So that is not actually, doesn't have a positive aspect in this type of societies. Didn't, because now, thank goodness, it is changing a lot. No,
So, Karina, I think this is the case in most of the rural villages, including in India.
Yes, all around the world, but I think nowadays, thanks of the activities like the rural tourism, for example, women are changing their mentality. They are becoming more ambitious, not in a negative aspect, but in a positive aspect. They want to discover the world. They want to have more opportunities. For example, these ladies here, most of them didn't go to the school. They didn't finish the basic school neither. So that means they never had the opportunity to go to the universities. So they didn't get a career because they didn't have the choice. They have to maintain this traditional style of life where the machismo is actually the base of all the organization. No? So in my country, like probably in most of the countries around the world, the machismo is known as a patriarchal culture, right? That assigns specific roles to men and women in their daily lives, no? Subsequently, in this culture, men are seen, unfortunately, still today in certain areas, as superior to women in different aspects, no? Not just in a physical aspect, but sometimes also in the emotional aspect, and the also educational aspect as well. Well, in my country, in most of the communities, they have more opportunities to travel, they have more opportunities to study as well, no? So they can develop their qualities, their potential, sometimes more than women, no? Within a typical family in Peru, man is the head of the family, no? Who financially supports his family. They make all the important decisions, no? While his wife remains at home, raise the children, maintain the home, no? And they normally don't have a say in the decisions of the family, right? But Peru was trying to shift it away from this culture in the recent years. It is hard, it is difficult, because sometimes as women you feel the responsibility, okay, to live in this, still involved in this culture and in the machismo, right? So, and the rural tourism, let me tell you, that was or is, right, an important catalyzer to permit the woman empowerment. Women mentality is changing a lot the last years, thanks to this type of activities that is not really new in Peru, because it has started in the 70s, approximately in 1970s, in the region of Puno. And by the way, it was a woman who started the first rural company, right? She was a visionary. She was really, she has this strong decision, right, to start something for herself. And he has the opportunity in the rural tourism to develop her, her own business, no? And still to date, in Peru, approximately 55% of the rural tourism enterprises are led and also are managed by women, right? Men is an important complement, but women has finally in this type of industry the last decision and also the most important decisions. You know? They are entrepreneurs. They have to date actually a greater facility to be incorporated into the local market, something that they didn't have, because since they didn't receive any type of education, if they, let's say, came to the big cities, they didn't have the chance to find a job, a proper job, because they were not prepared. They didn't develop their abilities to do certain specific jobs, no? So, but today, thanks to rural tourism, they are changing completely also their education. And I think that this contribution is changing not only women, it is changing the entire family and also the entire community. Because it is true that when women has the power of their own decisions, can also take the best decisions in favor of their families. For example, in terms of schooling of their children, no, or the nutrition, and finally, their future as well. They are changing the future of their daughters in this case, no? Another benefit, and that I probably mentioned already a little bit about this, is the permanent training, so the permanent education that they are receiving today, right? They know that they have to receive a permanent trainings in order to work properly with the groups that are coming from all over the world, no? So they have to know how to manage also a small and familiar business. So that is why being trained is such as important. And sometimes they are the leaders of these associations, the leader of these communities are actually also, they travel inside the territory and also abroad, giving trainings, giving conferences today about rural tourism, inspiring people, also inspiring women to change a little bit and to accept actually the new options that the life is, not to be fair, not to accept the new opportunities that we have today in our life. No? This is a very important motivation actually for them also to travel. For rural women, it was impossible to travel alone in the past. They couldn't. Their husband, well, they were allowed because sometimes they had to travel for economical circumstances, no, to find a job in the big cities, etc. So they have to stay at home permanently. But now they have this opportunity, and travel alone gives to them or permit to them to increase their self-esteem, their confidence, and also their independence. So they are becoming more independent as well. No? As I told you, in Peru, we have many places where the rural tourism is being now part of the touristical destination. So I will show you here some of the, what I consider the best examples about the rural tourism. For example, in this first picture, we can see Chinchero. We had the pleasure with Gitangali and his group to visit a small community of Chinchero, where nowadays women are working very hard in order to be also part of the touristical destinations of Peru, no? But to start these associations, to start their participation in the rural activity, actually, it was really hard. It was really difficult to them for different circumstances, no? Mostly familiar because they have many things to do at home, no? They have to raise their kids. They have to also cooperate with their husband on the fields. They have to raise their animals. They have to graze their animals. So sometimes to take the decision to stay in their house, to arrange a new business was really complicated for them as well. But there was a visionary. This is a lady that I always talk about because I think she was one of the main inspirations, not only for the women of Chinchero, but also for women in different areas of Peru, right? Nilda Callañaupa was, or is the name of this lady. She was born in this community. So she is Quechua also. So Nilda Callañaupa was the founder of one of the first textile centers in this place. And the idea of Nilda was basically to join together women from the community in order to train them and achieve for sure better and greater sales on the fabric, the textiles that they made, no? And also her goal was to recover many ancestral traditions that were in risk to disappear. For example, the ancestral techniques, the use of the backstrap loom, the use of the tools that you can see here in the weaving, the use of their vest, their clothes, no? They were changing. Actually, they didn't want to use anymore because they felt that it was not necessary to use them anymore, no? So Nilda worked really hard to recover also the use of these traditional elements in the community of Chinchero, no? This has permitted actually women to empower themselves and to achieve a great recognition. You know, many women in this area, as I told you, didn't have the opportunity to finish their studies, and they have a lot of professional limitations. But today, they are also helping the new generations to progress and also to be more educated as well. In the past, these ladies here were not able to talk. They were not able to express themselves with others. Of course, with the members of their communities, for them it was easy, no? They speak Quechua mostly. So sometimes they feel like embarrassed to use the Spanish because it was spoken in a different way. They have a different accent, no? They do speak Spanish too, but the fact that they speak Quechua firstly was also, unfortunately, a sort of a stigma in the society. No? So they were discriminated. The racism was really strong in these communities also, no? For people living in these communities. So that is why they feel sometimes embarrassed. They couldn't talk. They didn't want to talk. They didn't want to express anything to foreign people. But today, they learned. They are learning, and they are being more empowered also to talk in public. Imagine these ladies, they now travel not only inside Peru, but also they travel abroad. giving conferences, no, to talk about their experiences. And their daughters now speak not only Quechua or Spanish, they do speak foreign languages as well. They speak English, they can speak French, they can speak Italian. So when they give their speech to the travelers, they do in foreign languages, right? So they are becoming more motivated also to learn. Most of their daughters are going to the universities of Cusco. I have many colleagues now in Chinchero. They are studying tourism, but also they are studying medicine. They are starting to study law and many other careers, no, that for sure is going to change their future. In Chinchero, there is a lot of things to do. No, we can visit, as you can see. This is a local house where the women got together and they show us the different techniques of the weaving activity, which is, besides the farming activity, the other most important economical activity for them as well. No, so also, and they are the hair of the Inca society, so there is an important archaeological place in Chinchero. We can also visit this beautiful area and the colonial church. No? Today, thanks to their extraordinary effort and also their hard work, they can offer to the passengers accommodation, food, and many other activities also. In these pictures, I wanted to summarize some of the activities, mostly the weaving activity, which is the priority in Chinchero. No? They are considered master weavers for sure. And the techniques they use are very old. The textilery in Peru started 5,000 years ago. Most of them with the techniques that today in the communities of Chinchero, for example, the ladies are still using. No? So here we can see one of the youngest members of this family that is interacting with the tourist. No? She is explaining about the different pigments, natural pigments they use for the textilery. No? And here, the master weavers showing us how they made the threads, no, with the small tools they have. And also here in this picture probably is the most beautiful one, this one and this one here, that show us this facility that they are having today for the interaction with the passengers. No? Miss Minay is another extraordinary example. This is a small community of farmers. It is nearby Cusco. And women today is offering their wisdom of the worldwide. And again, another woman was the inspiration. She was the visionary to start to arrange basically all the rural activities here. This is their houses. Their houses now have been nicely organized and nicely ornamented also with all their typical textiles and also ornaments. And they offer lodging also to the travelers here in these houses. No? So actually when you travel to Miss Minay, you can stay for just a couple of hours, 3 hours, or maybe 1, 2, or 3 days or longer, no? Because they have a series of activities also to offer to the passengers. For example, they talk about the traditional medicine, the ancestral medicine. They show you, they teach you different things about the medicinal plants also. So there are many activities that we can do here, like the hikings in Moray. Moray is one of the most beautiful archaeological sites here in Cusco. No? They teach you about ethnobotany. You know, they are masters in ancestral medicine, and they have an extraordinary knowledge about the medicinal plants. No? For sure, horse and donkey ride, because they have those animals there. The demonstrations of agriculture and also textile, as you can see again, in this picture, for example, we can see this lady from United States is pigmenting the alpaca wool. No? Then the sheep herding, adobe making. Adobe is the main material they use for the construction of their houses. So you can learn with these ladies how to make this material from earth. No? As I told you, they offer accommodation and they offered food as well. Today, rural tourism, without any doubt, is helping to validate the potential of women and avoid the victimization. No? They invest more time in developing their capacities by permanent training. Again, so again, in this picture, we can see these ladies teaching our visitors how to make some pepper creams. No, probably they are going to cook some local potatoes. They are gonna eat them with this nice cream that they are preparing here. As you can see, it's a very typical place that maintains alive their traditions, their folklore, their music. Also, it's permanently also permitting the recovering of many other traditions that was in risk to disappear. No? Again, the textilery will be always a very important activity in almost all the rural communities of Peru. No? With many differences. No? They have some different techniques also to make their tapestries, etc. But it is important to recognize the use of the natural pigments. No? In these communities, to make these beautiful red, orange, blue, black colors, they use plants, herbs, leaves, barks, animals, right? They use everything that the nature has to offer to us. And it is why they have also a strong compromise to rescue the nature and to protect the nature as well. This is the interior of one of their houses that was nicely decorated by themselves. Okay, they learned how to do as well, no? With the tapestries that they made in these communities. In this case, this lady has harvested some Andean roots, probably potatoes or maybe ollucos, and it is showing to our visitor from United States. No? So it is actually the labor, the work of women in the communities is extraordinary today. No? Patacancha. Patacancha is a community also in the high Andes. It is located at almost 4,000 meters above the sea level, imagine. And this place is considered the communers, the inhabitants of Patacancha, are known as the living Incas. My friends, I am pretty sure that you had read a little bit about the Incas. They are considered the last culture developed in Peru around the 14th, 15th century, and they were unfortunately conquered by the Spaniards around the 16th centuries. But in these communities, we can still breathe, we can still feel, we can still be in touch, in contact with their descendants. No? So the inhabitants of Patacancha today are considered, for sure, the most direct ancestors of the Inca civilization, right? In these communities, they are working also in a sort of association, weaving association. There are approximately 260 craft women from different communities that are today participating also in the rural tourism. But for me, one of the most extraordinary activities they have or programs that they are nowadays also running is a series of lodges. They call the Inca lodges. No? The Inca lodges are basically their houses, nicely decorated and also reorganized in a sort of Andean hotels. And the idea is to receive basically the travelers that likes to explore all the mountains by hiking. There is an extraordinary hiking place in this area that lasts 2 days, 3 days, 4 or 5 days. So instead of taking their tents, taking their mattresses, etc., and sleep in a campsite, nowadays the women of the community with their associations and very well organized again, they are offering to them the lodges, no? So they can rest in their houses. Additionally, they offer all the different meals to the travelers. They do breakfast, they do lunch, they do dinner, they do prepare also snacks. And the concept is to use everything from the year communities, right? If they need to do breakfast, for example, here we can see this is corn, roasted corn, no? They use tortilla that is made also from corn. They use the local veggies also, no? So that is the idea, to preserve and also to recover their ancestral recipes that were also again in risk to disappear. In this type of communities, unfortunately, the new types of food were being introduced. So, but today, thanks to the extraordinary work of women, the travelers are able to eat quinoa, potato, no, they eat amaranth or dry freeze potato, jerky, etc. No, so it is a very complete experience actually when you travel around Patacancha. No, so you can visit the community of Huillo, Patacancha, Rumira. You can visit the lagoons they have in this area. You can learn to knit, you can learn to weave, you can go to Pumamarca, Marcacocha, those are also archaeological places. You can learn about organic agriculture, you can learn about Inca medicine just with plants, and you can live with the Incas in the 21st century. No? The services that they have to offer to the passengers, accommodation, food. Look at these pictures here, amazing, right? Look at here, they are teaching this lady how to make the threads. Probably they are going to make these mantas or maybe tapestries, table runners, who knows, no? Here, the girls, no, the kids that are also learning, this is an inherent part of their culture. They didn't learn yesterday, no? These traditions are passing down from generations to generations. And no, today, thanks to the rural tourism, these girls, if probably in the future they will decide to study something different, but for sure they will always maintain alive their culture and also their tradition. No? This is a group that went to this area for a hiking during 5 days. See the llamas over here. The llamas also help us during this important activity, during the hiking, right? And we can see the ladies here, right? And they are in charge to make, for example, this beautiful dish, no? Made of quinoa, made of chicken. They raise chicken, no? And here we have the amazing freeze dry potato, and that is typical also in this area. And the accommodation, as you can see, is very comfortable. No, it's a hotel without the stars, but it's the nicest experience you can ever have, right? The Potato Park or Parque de la Papa, no, is another important community. In this case, this is an extraordinary project that actually is made up of 9 communities. And the leader of this the leader of this association is Pilar Montesinos. Another local woman, she's pretty young. She's just 27 years old. And today she is in charge of the organization, you know, the marketing of this important rural tourism destination in Cusco, no? And she, for sure, is inspiring permanently to other young women to follow their or her footsteps and to lose the fear to the new challenges that the life has to offer to us. I am pretty sure that this girl here in the future is gonna become one of the leaders of the community, and she is gonna lead more probably activities in order to satisfy the needs of the travelers, but also to develop their communities as well. No, there are many activities like in the other places. No, basically in the potato park or in el Parque de la Papa, you are going to learn about the great diversity of potatoes that in Peru we have. There are approximately 3,000 potato varieties in my country, and in this community they are in charge of the protection of most of them. They produce approximately 300 different potato varieties just here, right? So imagine what important is the knowledge that these families, these ladies has, and they are transmitting also today, they are sharing with their passengers as well. You know? More pictures here that show us, for example, the farming activity. As you can see, the role of women in the Andean communities is very important. It's very, very. Probably they don't really perceive the gender differences as in the big cities, because if their husbands have to farm, they are a sort of assistants. They work together always, no? But well, for sure, there are many other abilities that they didn't exploit until the arrival of the rural tourism as well, no? So they have extraordinary lagoon nearby. They practice the ancestral religion until today, with the coca leaf. This lady here is talking with her guts, and her guts are in the nature, So you have the possibility when you travel to these destinations to meet and to learn about this type of activities or this type of traditions as well. Weaving, again, weaving is such as amazing, such as important, and really big, pretty big here in Peru. Rachi, just look in the face of this woman, I can tell how happy she is, because she's changing her perspective about life. She's changing also the future of, for sure, her family and also her community. Rachi is another place. Look at the differences. I am sure you notice the differences in the clothes, in the vest. It is traditional here. Each community has an authentic and also a different style of vest. Always with this type of hats. That is an important symbol also of their identity. In Rachi today we have mostly the pottery demonstration. In this case, textile, they do also weaving, but the pottery is the most important attraction in this place. Not thanks to the rural tourism. From this community today we have doctors, scientists, we have leaders of the communities, we have also entrepreneurs, and we have business managers also. Amantani is in the Lake Titicaca, is in Puno. Is probably one of the most ancient destinations, ancient project that was arranged in the 70s, as I told you, by a lady as well. They are Aymaras. They do speak as Aymaras. Remember, I told you we have different languages here, Quechua and Aymara. So they are Aymaras. They do speak as Aymara. The enterprises in Amantani are constantly growing thanks to the effort of the residents who seek permanent training to achieve international quality standards, for sure, without losing the essence of their culture. As I told you, the Amantani started in the 70s, and today the government also, it is helping to the protection and also the development of and also the promotion of the handicrafts and also the activities that these ladies are arranging along Amantani. They have many things to offer. You can actually spend a couple of days, 3 days with them, and there is gonna be something new to learn about them. And the accommodation they offer, because it's so beautiful, the colors are very vibrant. The farming activity also, they are next to the Titicaca Lake. They have several dances. They have a rich folklore. And for sure, thanks to the extraordinary work of women, it's going to be maintained for a long time. No? Uros, Cantati is another important place also. No? So in Uros, Uros is a floating island. It's beautiful place. It's in the center of the Lake Titicaca. So it is today one of the most traditional attractions for travelers who come to the high plains. It's ancient culture founded on an ethnic group that has been separated from the firm land. It is, as I told you, it is incredible. It is amazing. This place is just fascinating because you can learn how they made an island with reed. And until today, they farm, they cook, they live permanently in a non-natural island. The islanders practice today traditional fishing of karachi, which is a type of fish that they have in the lake. Among many other species, trout has been introduced also. They show visitors how to dry certain produces like potato, meat, maybe fish to preserve for longer. They hunt wild birds for eating also. It is a very sustainable activity, by the way. They preserve also, women weave, mostly with sheep fiber, and the travelers can stay many days actually in this place. The food of the area is trying to respect the most traditional produces, most of them produced by themselves, organic, by the way, or ecologic also. And look at here in these pictures, some of the activities that we can do. This is a type of canoe that you can actually also ride when you visit Uros. This is the island over here, as you can see, is in the middle of the Lake Titicaca. It is made up of reed. This is how they look like. Everything is made of reed, a local material. See, and also this is inside their houses, their homes, where they are today offering lodging also. Finally, Chasuta. Chasuta is in the jungle of Peru. And these ladies and their traditions has been recognized by the Peruvian government as the cultural patrimony of the nation. So they are being protected by the Peruvian laws, by the Peruvian regulations. In Chasuta, the priority is the pottery. They are pottery makers. Most of the ladies, they are masters in pottery, and they are teaching today also to the new generations, right? And always they try to maintain the ancient techniques as well. Like weaving, pottery is also pretty old in Peru. It belongs to approximately 1,000 years before Christ, more or less. So until today, they have a great influence also among the communities of Peru, right? To end, I would like to show you this short video that is going to show us a sort of summarize of all the traditional rural destinations of Peru. It is partly in Spanish, all right?
Ofrecemos servicio completo, como es la alimentación, hospedaje, agua caliente.
He's talking a little bit about the services they have in these places to offer to the travelers. For example, lodging, food, music, entertainment, etc.
actividades que brindamos a nuestros pasajeros son demostración de cerámica y visita al parque, visita guiada al parque. Tenemos guías locales.
Participan, si vienen en tiempo de cosecha, cosechan. Si tiempo de siembra, siembra o apor.
She's talking about the different activities again, no? She said if you came in the farming season, you are going to farm with the local families. But if you came in the harvest season, you are going to be invited also to harvest all the different produces that they have on their fields, no? Peruvian coffee and Peruvian chocolate recognized to date as one of the best of the world. No? So we have many places where you can go and also participate in the production of those two important produces, chocolate and coffee.
In here and seeing some of the traditions, and I think really they're very, very lucky to live here.
The people here are very welcoming and kind and feel very safe here.
How was your trip, 10, 20 years from now? I'm still going to remember that. What do you know about the people of Peru? I'm going to remember something like that.
It's a great opportunity to see the country that's so unique and so beautiful.
Este pueblo, yo siendo de España, como podría ser de Alemania, de algún país, estoy seguro que estás como en casa. No sé, yo me levanto por la mañana, voy al mercado como si fuese en mi ciudad, porque es como se mantiene un poco familiar el ambiente.
Pienso la mejor experiencia para viajar es con turismo rural.
I'm sorry. Well, as you saw, without any doubt, rural tourism is the best catalyzer for the empowerment of women, and it is changing a lot the life of the women of the Andes of Peru and also the life of their entire families. It is permitting them to be more valued, to be more considered by the society, by their family, because today we have to say when women have the power to make their own money and they have the control of how to use it, this does not only impact economically, but this is one of the best ways to reduce poverty. And this is what is happening today with their families also, and for sure, their communities. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I hope you enjoy this short presentation I had prepared for you.
Thank you, Karina. We want to see you now. All of us can, I think. Thank you so much. For a couple of us, it's like going back to Peru again with your presentation, like enjoying those foods, colors, cuisine, culture, and learn a lot of things. Yes, thanks again for taking time off and taking us through this presentation. And in turn, we get to learn so much about rural tourism, and many of the things that you spoke about, the rural tourism there and the rural landscape, it resonates what we have in India, and I'm sure we all will take a lot of inputs from your presentation. And thanks again. Smita, can you open the floor for question answer?
Yeah, I think we have given permission for all of them to switch on their cams and unmute themselves. So if they are ready with any questions for Karina, they can start. Participants can unmute themselves. And if they have any questions or if they want to talk about Karina's presentation, they are most welcome. Guys, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think Lata Krishna. Yeah, I think they're coming one by one. So
Yeah.
Yeah, hi, I'm Lata
yeah,
Krishna
please.
here. Beautiful presentation, Karina, and very inspiring. And you could see with what passion, you have worked over there, and the way you're encouraging the women empowerment and tourism and everything. And like as Gitanjali said, I completely agree with her. We have a lot of opportunities here in and around us. And I'm from Bangalore, from Karnataka, and we do have a lot of opportunities, and through your presentation definitely we are going to take a lot of inputs and uh, you know implement them over here. Once again,
Thank you very much. I hope that presentation will inspire you a little bit also to incorporate something new ideas in the rural activities that you will have in Peru. The idea is always to give women the opportunity also to develop. And in Peru, as I told you, rural tourism is helping a lot. It was really hard. It was really difficult for women to understand and to work in rural tourism because they had probably a different concept of life. They were actually raised in a different, with a different mentality as well. But nowadays they are working successfully and they are feeling more value. They are also, they know that their identity, their cultural identity is even becoming stronger as earlier.
Yeah, like as I said, it's not very easy to work in the villages because they already have some cultures and some belief system, and it's very difficult to go and say them what they need to do to come out of it. They wouldn't like it. So it's very difficult to do what you have done is amazing. It's absolutely. Thank you so much for that wonderful, learning. And we have quite a lot of learning from you. Thank you so much.
Thanks to you.
And very well presented, Karina. Absolutely very well presented. We feel like visiting Peru. That's how it should be presented. One is you work here, but after doing amazing work, the way you present it, to the outside world, which will make them come and visit that place, that is something we need to.
I think probably Geetanjali can help us in fixing another trip to Peru through
yes.
IT Nature Club.
Have to visit
For
Peru.
all the members.
Yes.
All of you. Just a women trip.
Yeah, definitely,
Go,
definitely.
go and see all these different places that I present you. As I tell you, they are just a little part of the many other destinations that we have, not only in Cusco. No, I try basically to show you the most relevant ones in Cusco, but we have in Puno. I just show you a couple of them in Puno. We have almost 20 in Puno, where the Lake Titicaca is. We have in Arequipa. We have many others in the jungle to see not only women making the potteries, but also baskets. And, actually, we have extraordinary diversity in Peru. So you are most welcome to come to Peru. I am in Cusco. I am in one of the most magnificent cities of Peru. And for sure, the reason is because Machu Picchu is here. No? So if you come to Peru, definitely you have to come to visit Machu Picchu, you have to come to visit Cusco.
Actually, I visited Peru with Gitanjali's IT Nature Club and experienced her wonderful hospitality. She is wonderful group leader and explains everything wonderfully.
Yeah, she's passionate about her work. The way she explains, and it's like that's the reason I couldn't think of anyone else for the launch. I thought let's invite Karina and let's take it forward because there's so much of things we can learn, and there is a lot of similarities between Peru. Like as in India, we have different landscapes. We have mountains, we have forests, and same with Peru. Peru has got Andes, then you have Amazon, and beautiful culture, beautiful city. So there's, as I said, there's so much of similarities, and we can learn from each other a lot. And definitely, we are going to work together and take this whole initiative forward.
Karina, I have a question. How much of help from the Peru government actually you have got for all the implementation of such rural tourism projects?
Well, actually, they are. Yeah, please.
No, I mean, if do they help you only if you show them a success model, or it's like the government itself takes an initiative on developing tourism in certain areas?
Actually, we have to date a lot of cooperation also from the Peruvian government. They are really concerned in the diversification of the national touristical product, and they had recognized the great potential that the rural communities have. But they know that most of the rural communities live in poverty, some of them extreme poverty. So they cannot deal with all, for example, the accommodation systems. No? So that is why we have several programs in Peru that helps with money, but also with training, to the rural families in order to in order to start with this type of business. There is a contest that takes place twice a year. The name is Entrepreneurs of Peru. So the idea is actually to participate with a new project in your community that could sometimes also receive 100,000 Peruvian soles, 60,000 Peruvian soles, and that helps them also with all the implementation of their houses or their communities as well. We have a lot of cooperation also from private companies and also from non-profit organizations as well. So actually the idea when in the 70s, when they started with the rural tourism, was a non-profit organization who helped one of the first ladies who decided to arrange this familiar business or the rural activity as well. So yeah, thank you. And today, probably the post-COVID travelers will look forward for destinations like Patacancha, Chinchero, places that are gonna be less crowded, because yeah, Machu Picchu is so wonderful, but sometimes it is very crowded. And the idea today is to concentrate as well. So today they are also giving a lot of support to the families and also to the associations, to work in this entrepreneurs also for the future. In this business.
Thank you. Thank you.
This idea is really good, like a government helping and coming out with a competition, right? Yeah. It's a wonderful idea.
Have you faced any challenges, Karina, with the government? In the initial stages, did you face any challenges with the government getting involved in these kind of activities and helping you with the finances and rest of the things?
As I told you, the first challenge that the government has to deal with was the personality, the culture of the communities. It was hard for them to to make people to understand the importance and also the value of their culture and to show to them. So, but today actually the rural people want to be considered more and more in the rural activities as well, because they recognize that thanks to this activity, they are able to develop their families, economically, socially, etc. In terms of education as well. So now it is becoming easier, but it was such as difficult in the past also for the government, because with people that has ancient culture and they respect a lot this culture, it is sometimes a challenge always to work with. And financially, as I told you, they are now also with the cooperation of different associations and Peruvian organizations as well, national organizations, they are trying to give some economical support to them, to improve also their quality service, to improve also their homes that are offering to the passengers. The idea is not to change the essence of the culture, but the idea is always to increase the quality service in order to satisfy, the needs of the passengers as well.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Karina, wonderful presentation. Thanks. It was, wonderful insight into Peru. I want to. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, some interruptions, but
Yeah, okay. So I was also wondering, like, Peru, along with its rich historical significance and all, there's a lot, and cultural background, there's a lot of spirituality and lot of the ceremonial richness and the spiritual richness. So is that an aspect still that's very private, or have you tried to kind of expose that to, you know, I'm trying to say, like, has that been, have you thought of exposing that to travelers or adding as part of your tourism of the rural ceremonies? There will be some, because it's more of the pagan thing with lot of nature connection, right? Like, so has that been exposed to outsiders, or like
yeah, Pachamama.
Absolutely, you remember the word, right? Pachamama, or the offering they do with the coca leaves, that, as you said, for some people could be perceived as pagan, no? But here there is a free exposure. They had suffered a lot of limitations in the past. People in the rural areas couldn't show their real tradition, their religion at all, because of the social pressure and also the religious pressure, the pressure of the Catholicism mostly, which is here our first religion, the most important religion as well. But since they had permanently maintained their own religion, they are able, without any problem, to show to the travelers also what is their level of connection with the nature, how they express also their respect, without leaving apart the Catholicism at all. So what we have here is basically a sort of interaction between the Catholicism and also the Andean religion, both of them together always, no? So there is a sort of symbiosis between both of the religions. So they show always. So if you travel to these communities and maybe you are mostly focused in looking into the spirituality of people, they, without any problem, will show you their religion as well. They share with you always.
But so I was wondering, is there any remote areas where which is untouched by Catholicism? Like what I'm saying is, original, aboriginal, or pagan practices. Is there any area which is not touched by?
Not really. We have in Peru almost all the places, except probably the deep jungle, where there are still communities without any connection with the modernity, let's say. So they were not impacted by the modernity, so they didn't receive any influence from the Catholicism. But all the rest of Peru, they have also an strong impact and also connection with the Catholicism. Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
Yeah, but it's a good symbiosis, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, even though in the colonial time that lasts almost 400 years, no, from the 60s until the 80s, no, more or less. So there was for sure a lot of discrimination in this case, no. So, and also it was completely prohibited to use or to practice the Andean religion in the whole country, not just in the rural areas, everywhere in Peru. But actually the communities in the rural areas, they were able to maintain and to protect their own religion, sometimes mimetized with the Catholicism. So that is why today it is still possible to perceive here. It's still possible to participate in this type of rituals, for example, no? So yeah, in all over Peru we are Catholics, essentially Catholics.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mapu, you want to ask something?
Hi, Gitanjali. Thank you so much. Yeah, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you and be a part of this wonderful network. And I would like to thank Karina for her, inspiring presentation. I'm really, really glad to be a part of this. And I have noted down many points from her presentation. And there was so much of similarities. Just for the information, I've come from Northeast, the very remote part of Northeast India, where footfall of tourism and tourists is very, very less, very minimal. And this was something which I have been thinking about for the last, say, three, 4 months during the total lockdown. And now it has given me and inspired me so much. And with the presentation from Karina, I come to see that, especially with the weaving of the women there, we have a lot of similarities. So as of now, I can't, I cannot point out exactly what we need, but for a start, I think there is going to be a lot of change, which is going to help me with this presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mapui. Thank you for joining the team. Mizoram, Mapui comes from a state called Mizoram, as colorful as like Cusco, and so I hope to see a lot of things from Mizoram coming in. Let's hope so.
For surely, yeah. I hope we have a lot of things to do, and especially with the weaving,
Correct.
I have spoke to a lot of people this past few days who actually volunteered to give trainings to the women. And in terms of our work culture and ethnicity, there are a lot of changes we need to make. And also, we need to creating the awareness, and we need to go in for a lot of advocacy, because like Karina has said, the women folks out here, especially in the rural areas, there is a lot of differences with the men and the women in how we work and in terms of the social status that we have. So apart from that, I would like to say that based on the Union Labor and Employment latest data, the workforce of the Mizo women contributed in 2020 is 59%, which is the highest in India.
Correct.
Which is the highest in India. So I believe, and this morning also I wrote a small write-up. I made a small write-up. So Mizo women, we are very, very hardworking. And 90% of 59% of the workforce is contributed by the Mizo women. So as far as rural tourism progress is concerned in Mizoram, I am sure we can do tremendous changes for the state, working alongside the state government. And I would need a lot of, advice or anything from everyone from the members.
Yeah, we are all there with you. Yeah, we are all there with you, definitely.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, when you spoke about 59% of the women contribution in Mizoram, I always remember Mizoram women, because you will see that purse hanging on them, right?
Yes, absolutely.
They will not leave that purse.
Nice.
True.
Yeah.
Anyone else for questions?
Let me just check on the Facebook.
Yeah, sure. And Karina, I have a small question. I mean, the respect for the women who are into this cultural and traditional activities which promotes tourism in that particular area. How do the men treat them after they've started earning their own money or having their financial independence? Is there any change in the attitude of that particular area, men and women, or the social status of women? Have they gone high there? Or how does it, I mean, what is the percentage of increase in between a place where there is no tourism or the women are not involved in the economical sustainability of a place?
Well, something that we have to understand is probably the differences between gender differences in the big cities and also in the country areas. No, in the country areas, they work as a team always, men and women. They are considered themselves with the same capacities. No, well, as I was telling you in the presentation, if they have to harvest, they harvest together. If they have to do, for example, any other activities that concerns to the family, they do together as well. Actually, in the communities of the rural areas of Peru, the weaving activity is not just particularly practiced by women, also men does this or do also this activity. No? So let's say that they don't really perceive the same probably perception that we have in the big cities about the gender differences. No? Probably the most important difference is the financial autonomy, because women doesn't really have, or didn't have in the past before the rural tourism, the opportunity to have their own income, no? Or also be independent, be free to use the money in whatever she wants, no? But now it is actually giving this opportunity to women as well.
Nice,
No?
nice.
So there is a lot of changes, and men is recognizing also, and it is value more, you know, the work of women in this type of activities, because they know that it is hard, it is difficult, and they became also in companions. They are parts. They are parts. They support also their wives during the development of this activity as well, because actually that is also making, let's say, men's lives a little easier. Let me tell you something. For example, in some of the communities, men has to live for a long time their communities, looking for better opportunities in the big cities or perhaps in the jungle, no? Or working as Sherpas, right, along the Inca Trail. So they have to work really, really, really hard, because that was the only way they had to make money. But now they understood that their wives are working hard at home to make money, and probably to avoid that they have to look for this type of heavy work. No, so that is why they are receiving more support also from their husbands. Unfortunately, in the areas where rural tourism has not been developed yet, the differences are still really, really big. No, so they still have probably the idea that they are the head of the family, all the decisions are just made by them, so they have basically all the power above their wives, and unfortunately also they exercise domestic violence as well. No?
Okay.
So rural tourism is changing a lot. Also the way how they live together today.
Nice, nice. Thank you. Any other question, members?
Yeah, I think that is, nobody has asked anything.
Yeah,
by the way, Karina, Nandita Amin has sent her regards to you. She has mentioned that she missed for Peru.
Greetings to Nandita and Ambika also.
Yes, Ambika
I always remember. I always remember. You are always in my memories.
You too.
Have really had an extraordinary time together in Peru.
Yes.
We had some probably experiences that we will remember forever, like a long wait for the train.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, Karina, I'm so thankful. Actually, Karina, I'm so thankful to you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thankful to you and Gitanjali, because of both of you, I can go do the climb of the Peru.
Machu Picchu.
Without your help, I couldn't have done it.
Let's do 4 days hiking.
Not hike, but whatever we have done. I couldn't have done without your and Gitanjali's help.
I know, yeah. You know, working in tourism for me is such as amazing. I consider me personally very lucky to be involved in this industry. I know that today we are suffering a little bit for the pandemic. We are not working the last 7 months approximately because we were just in the low season when everything started and Peru was locked down. So sometimes I'm feeling like a really, sad, and I don't really have a real idea. Like everybody, I think about the future of tourism in Peru. But I am pretty sure that we are going to travel again, and people will travel again to Cusco as well.
Yes,
so
yes, all of us, all of us have that
ability.
And also, as women, I can say that thanks to the tourism, I have the capacity actually to talk with people. I was very shy in the past. I couldn't learn English for a long time. I do a really extraordinary effort. I study really hard, and finally I get. And I can say that I am also an empowered woman thanks to the tourism.
Lovely, lovely,
Very true, very true.
Fantastic.
Yes, good.
Okay, I think then, guys, we'll wrap up the Q&A now, and let me request Sarmishta to give a word of thanks.
Take a snap of all.
Yes,
I have taken it. I have taken screenshots while we were discussing.
All of you, please switch on your video. So
yeah,
that
if everybody can come on cam, please, we can take one shot, screenshot, please. Can everybody switch on your cams? Yes, please. Thank you. Dr. Anita, can you please on your cam? Dr. Seema, please.
Yeah, you have muted my video. Yeah.
No, I can hear your voice, ma'am.
Yeah, you have switched off my video.
Okay,
so I can't start my, just now I will start my video.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, hi Karina.
Yes, I am giving
Hello?
permission to all to start the video.
Okay. Yeah.
Please start the videos, please. Shubhaji.
Yeah, your lecture was very nice and informative.
Yes, we can hear you, Anita.
Yeah, because I am geography teacher. And so, yeah, because of that, my specialty is also tourism. I have done my PhD in tourism of Konkan part of Maharashtra.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was very nice experience with sharing your views also with all of us, and it was nice experience. Hopefully, we will come in Peru sometime after this pandemic situation. Yeah.
Definitely.
Definitely.
So,
hi, Rajiv.
Hi, good evening, madam.
Good evening. You want to say something?
Well, yeah, it was a wonderful presentation, madam. Hello.
Hello.
Is
yeah,
it
we
audible?
can hear you. Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me and be a part in these events and really encouraging me during this pandemic. We are just a mess as we still survive. I'm from Northeast, from Manipur. My name is Rajiv. It was a wonderful presentation. I learned many things. And I get jealous about the government is helping our panelists' presentations. I had a very hard time in my initial, while I operate my tourism activities, while I build my ecosystem, because the government is, doing nothing about us so far in this pandemic as well. But now I don't need any help from the government because I can stand by my own now. I'm lucky, and I'm happy to be with you again. And I'm sure I will visit one day to Peru with Madam Gitanjali Dar and Madam Manik Desmugh as well.
Yes, Rajiv, just I want to add now, yes, I totally agree because Rajiv is also a travel associate and we are in the same field and we try to promote a lot of off the beaten destinations, and I totally agree with him that in India we don't have much support, especially for micro entrepreneurs. So that's exactly the reason where Rural Tourism Council will come and we are going to be together and make a presentation to the government and tell them our issues, Rajiv.
But I don't rely with the government. I will stand by myself and I will go on.
Yes. You can, but there are hundreds and thousands of women who need support.
But I believe we can help each other.
Yes, very true, very true.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Yeah, Sharmishta.
Yes, over to
Okay.
Sarmishta.
Thank you. So I'll express the vote of thanks. I would like to add, women are naturally creators, and this gives us the opportunity to create a just, sustainable, and equitable world. Let me express my vote of thanks from the WICCI Forum. Thank you, participants. We thank first and foremost Harbin Arora, founder president at WICCI, for her motivational speech, and we will do things differently using this platform. Thank you, Karina Malpartida, for introducing Peru through your engaging talk. We were almost there emotionally. Many things we observed are similar to India, as we both nations are from old civilizations. Great to know things are undergoing metamorphosis for the women because of rural tourism, and they are slowly becoming more empowered. Travel is not only about reaching places, but also knowing and understanding the people there, their culture and practices. Looking forward to the day when all of our council members will be able to join Karina and do something together, keeping in mind common interest, like visit local houses and interact with the native communities, experience the weaving and handicrafts demonstration, understand the archaeological and colonial places of interest, soak in the blissful natural wonders, and we can do more when we are there. Thank you, Smita and Manik, for your untired support. Thank you, Gitanjali, for bringing all of us together. And this was a beautiful start of our new journey.
Thank you, Sharmishta. Thanks
Thank you.
everyone. And thanks again, Karina, and hope to see you soon. Love to all.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Guys, thank
Thank you.
you.
Very much.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Have a great day,
Thank you.
guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye
Thank you,
bye.
Karina. Thanks a lot.